Here's the truth. Living on the road these past 9 months has been weird. The overall vibe is just really hectic and basically like kind of the opposite of why I got into this lifestyle. Hey guys, what's up? So, thank you for being here. If you are new, my name's Christian Schaefer. I'm an outdoor adventure photographer and I live in my van full time. I've been living on the road for 2.5 years. And yeah, so the last time that we caught up, sorry, there's a truck going by. But the last time that we caught up, I was in Arizona and I am back in Arizona now. But between the last video and this video, a few things have happened. I did some traveling, and I wanted to update you guys on that. And then also just kind of like some issues I've been running into with living on the road during the second wave of the pandemic. Like, I just kind of want to give you guys more of a big picture overview, like show some different sides of what this experience has been like, because it's definitely been challenging lately. So yeah, like I said, thanks for being here and I'll just dive right in. So I was in Arizona and the weather down here is perfect. I was camped out in the wilderness and it was really great, but I had a house sit coming up, or a pet sit coming up that I had scheduled back in November, and I couldn't exactly cancel it, nor did I want to, because I would have left the pet owners kind of like high and dry. So I had this upcoming pet sit in San Francisco, and things were kind of escalating in California and it was looking like maybe things would shut down again. So I was a little bit nervous about driving all the way out there, but like I said, what could I do? So drove out to California, and literally the day after I did, California went into lockdown and they had the stay-at-home order. So that was unfortunate for road lifing, because the plan was to drive out to San Francisco, do the 2-week house sit, and then stay on California, like BLM land, travel along the coast, and do some low-key, slow travel, and just still be able to shower at the campgrounds and the gyms. But with the lockdown, all of that was closed. I tried not to think about that too much and went ahead with the pet sit, which was amazing. It was in Mill Valley, so it was just beautiful. Like, the house was amazing and the 2 puppies were so cute. Oh my gosh, they were 2 French little bulldogs. And I did the house sit with Nathaniel. He's also an outdoor adventure photographer, so it works out really well for us to do the pet sitting together, because if one of us gets a photo assignment or we need to go travel, the other person can stay and take care of the pets. So we were there together and we got out on some adventures. We went down to the beach, which was near the house. We went out to Mount Tam. And honestly, everything was on lockdown and there was a curfew, but things from the outside, I mean, they seem pretty normal still. Like, we could go to the grocery store, we could go shopping, there was just limited capacity at the stores. We could still take the dogs out for a walk and go for a hike as long as we were wearing a mask and being socially distanced. So yeah, it was actually like a really nice, enjoyable time where we could rest and relax and just kind of like enjoy being off the road. But when that ended, we decided to go up to Point Reyes and hang out there and see how feasible it was to road life. And oh my gosh, it's so beautiful up there. There were some great places to camp and very easy to social isolate. But, you know, by day 4, I was like, I'd really love a shower. I haven't showered since Saturday and it's now Thursday. So awesome. This is becoming the new norm with this coronavirus lockdown. Our only option to shower was to go to a truck stop, rent a hotel, or get an Airbnb. and thought about just doing truck stops until the lockdown ended, but the nearest truck stop was like 30 minutes out of the way, which seemed not really very practical. We were talking about it and we thought, okay, why don't we just rent an Airbnb for a month and we can split the cost. And that way we can do it in a cool location, so we can go do like 3 to 4 nights out in the backcountry, and we can take turns even if we want and go do photo shoots and stuff like that, and just have a place to come back and shower and have Wi-Fi and all of that. So that's what we did. We booked a 1-month Airbnb, and to be honest, like it kind of felt like I was giving up. Like, I know that sounds stupid, but I almost feel like I'm waving the white flag when I get a hotel or an Airbnb. Nate went off and did his own thing, and I did my own thing in SoCal, and then we met up, and this Airbnb that we had booked was just like, it was a great location. It was near Alabama Hills, Death Valley, and a lot of other really cool BLM locations where we could go shoot. But the Airbnb was just not what we imagined it would be. Like, I won't go into too much detail. I'll just say that like it was super loud. It was on an intersection. The walls were really thin. I had a conference call and I had to lock myself in the bathroom, and even then you could still hear the cars just roaring by. So, and there were a few other things, but like I said, I won't go into detail. But the most important thing is like the guy who ran the Airbnb was so cool. He was great at communication, and when we just told him like, hey, this probably isn't going to work for us, we do a lot of audio based work, he was like, no problem. He let us cancel and just pay for the days that we were there, which he totally didn't have to do, so thank you. That was really nice of him. Anyway, so we found ourselves back out on the road. At this point we're like, okay, we have a couple options. We can either find another Airbnb, we can cross back into Arizona in the land of showers, or we can maybe go find some BLM land in California and live off of truck stops and solar shower. I decided to come back to Arizona. I'll admit I have some mixed feelings about coming back here, especially with everything going on. It's a hot spot at the moment and there's a lot of unknowns, but at the end of the day, I don't have a ton of options, aside from, like I said, renting another Airbnb or buying a house, getting a hotel. You can easily social distance out here. Even when I went to the gym, which I've been twice now, it's completely empty and I wear a mask. But it's been interesting trying to navigate, you know, like weighing those things, like should I go, should I stay? Because here's the truth. Living on the road these past 9 months has been weird. Like, I won't say that it's been hard. I know a lot of you out there are going through way, way worse. I'm not trying to complain. I just want to paint a fuller picture for you guys of what this has been like, because it's maybe sometimes it looks like it's just carefree and beautiful and fun, and a lot of times it is, but there's also some downsides. So I just want to share some of those with you guys to paint a fuller picture. Aside from gyms being closed and not having a solid shower option, except for here in Arizona where they're still open, campgrounds are also closed, or if they're not, they're like jam-packed. And I get it. Everyone wants to get outside. They want to leave their house. They want to go recreate, and like only so many places are open. So naturally they're going to be overcrowded. But a consequence of that is just that these places that are usually low-key and relatively crowd-free are just overrun with people, and trash is overflowing, and in some cases like there's graffiti and things are being destroyed, and that's kind of sad to see. The overall vibe is just really hectic and basically like kind of the opposite of why I got into this lifestyle. One thing I love about being on the road is being able to distance yourself from people. Like, I'm a natural social distancer. I'm also an introvert, so yeah, it's hard to do that in these places that are still open and just like overrun with crowds. With the campground closures, there are a few other things that are impacting this lifestyle, and that's like having places to fill the water jugs, having places to dump my toilet and my gray water tank. I usually do that at campgrounds, and also the showers. And sometimes what that means is I have to drive way out of my way to go dump my gray water and toilet, which, whatever, that's what you have to do to live this lifestyle. But it does mean unnecessary travel, which is kind of the opposite of what we'd want to be doing during a pandemic. It's also just a massive waste of time, gas, and money. Libraries and coffee shops are closed, or at least indoor seating is not available. And that's kind of been a big adjustment for me, because I know I have the van to work in, and that's amazing, and I love that. But I'm super ADHD, and Sometimes I literally need to just walk into the library and reserve one of those study rooms and lock myself in there in order to get real work done. Like, I'm so easily distracted. It's kind of funny. I do get comments fairly often saying, there's no way you actually live in that van. It's way too clean. Like, someone who actually lives in that van, it would be a mess. And thanks, I guess. But like, there are a couple of reasons why that is the case. First of all, I'm a neat freak. But second of all, I need like very minimal surroundings, very zen surroundings, because otherwise I'm like a squirrel. I'm like so distracted. And it's also an avoidance tactic. If I'm sitting down to do hard work and I just don't feel like working, I'll take a look around and be like, oh, I could organize that drawer, or I should really clean this wooden panel even though it doesn't need it. These things on top of the usual struggles around like getting mail, receiving product shipments for work, juggling photo assignments and print sales and emails, and keeping track of expenses for taxes, and just like everything related to running a business, it's all magnified when you live on the road, because just like simple tasks, like for example, intercepting a package for a product I need to shoot to create content around, which should be simple, right? Just comes to your house. That can turn into like a full day ordeal of going back and forth on email and changing the address and all of these things. So yeah. And then like finding places to do laundry, places to sleep at night, dealing with general van maintenance, like oil changes and, you know, like fixing things here and there with the build, maintaining that, and then also maintaining some form of community and like staying in touch with family. Those things are a little more difficult for everyone, considering that we're supposed to keep our distance. But being on the road, you already feel a little bit isolated, and the pandemic has really kind of like magnified that. So that's just a little update on what I've been up to and what it's been like living on the road lately. Mostly the crappy stuff, but I just want to be honest with you guys when it comes to that. The truth though is that like despite all of these challenges, I still love it out here. Like, I love sitting by the campfire and seeing stars at night before I fall asleep. I love waking up with the sunrise. I love the freedom and the feeling of not being tethered to any one place for now. I will say that this past year has taught me that I very much want to buy land and build my own place. And yeah, I'd love to do that in the next year or two. At this point, I still don't know which state I want to buy it in. And that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out by all of this moving around. I've only narrowed it down to the west of the Rockies. But having a place to call home and hunker down during times like this, and then also have the van to go out and travel, that's like my dream. So hopefully in the next year or two. It's my goal to put out more videos moving forward. So thanks for sticking around. Head over to Instagram and follow me there. And yeah, see you next time.